What's up, family jiu-jitsu fans, friends, and family? This is Theo Chino, head professor of the Family Jiu-Jitsu Academy, and I'm bringing you another episode of White Belt Encounters. Bum bum bum. This time, coming at you from the rooftop, baby. And this is gonna go way back into the vaults. So my younger brother and I watched UFC like a lot of people did, like a lot of civilians, savages, maybe you could just call us idiots did. And we were watching it and we are like, what's this guy doing? We're like, who's this guy like fighting in his pajamas? And why does he fight like that? That's so strange. And then we're like, wait a minute, this guy kind of knows what he's doing. So we're like, let's get together and practice and try some of this stuff, like the guard. And so we started wrapping people up in the guard. I met one guy who said, that's my thinking position, yo. And I'm like, wow. Because he's like, he had no idea what to do in the guard, but he's like, it gives me time to think. And I'm like, So, had this friend who is like a Spartan, okay? He's not somebody who calls himself a Spartan or who does Spartan races. He's not somebody who is mindful of his budget and doesn't even have a bed because you don't need one. You can lie on your ground instead because it's Spartan. He's like a Spartan, like his dad was born in and came from Sparta. And if you are guessing that maybe the Spartans maybe weren't as tough as legend has it, well, my friend, let's just call him the Spartan, used to make parking spaces for us by sliding the back ends of big cars over. I mean, sliding them, right? Kind of like Franco Columbu style. He used to rip small trees out of the ground when appropriate, right? When that was the task at hand at work, just with his bare hands. Do all kinds of other stuff. Like he broke the world's natural record when it came to bench press. I think he weighed like 160. He was 19 years old. And he benched 405, and I spotted him. And there was no bench shirt, no elbow wraps, no nothing. Not even that much of a bounce off the chest, barely. Not even a lot of arch either. So this guy was the real deal. And he came in one day when my brother and I were training, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're learning this jiu-jitsu stuff from Brazil. And he's like, what's that? And he used to wrestle. She's like, dude, you're really fast. You're like Bruce Lee. Like, if you kick me in the knee and punch me in the face, like, I'd never be able to grab you. You'd probably mess me up. Maybe. He goes, but if I grabbed you, it'd be over. I'm like, well, let me try. So, in my parents' family room, he comes at me like a bull. You know, no striking, right? Takes me down. Bam. I wrap him up in the guard, but I did something wrong. Next thing you know, he's got my arm behind my head, and he's firing off a bunch of fake punches, which would have caved my skull in. And, then, and I'm just trying to wonder if I've told this story or not before, so you guys got to let me know if I've done these before. But then, I was like, okay, I would have been dead. Great. We kept on training, and a week later, he comes over, he's like, you guys still doing that? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I think I figured out what I did wrong. He's like, okay, you want to go again? He's like, this time I'm going to come at you hard. And my little brother's watching, who's starting to get not so little. And I'm like, yeah. So he comes at me. This time I'm doing head control, and I'm keeping his head down. I'm wrapping his arm up. I'm doing all the right stuff, and then he's sitting up, and I'm sitting up with him, which it's funny because, like, all of a sudden I just got bad at that as I got better at jiu-jitsu. And, but people are getting better at pushing and posturing, right? And that's part of it. So he would push me back down, and then he finally realized, he's like, in the middle of the fight, he's like having to figure it out. Now, this guy's beast. He wrestled and super strong, been in a bunch of fights. Like, people used to hire him to be like a bouncer for their like backyard keg parties and things like that. And usually it wasn't even a fight, really. It was just him just like controlling and squishing and squeezing people, and they would just cry and then agree to pay the entry fee to the party. And so he finally realized, like, it's these legs that are bothering me. So he turns his back on me and he rips my legs open like this. Like, think about your rear deltoid strength compared to somebody's hips and hamstrings. And he just rips my legs open like nothing. And I wasn't weak. I was very strong for a guy my size, but nothing close to his power and his strength. And my brother's like, get on his back. And I'm like, yep. And I was already on his back. We didn't even know the seatbelt or anything. And then him having wrestled. Now, this is funny, right? Because he had some training in wrestling, which wrestling is a very powerful sport, very powerful form of a martial art in a certain range of combat, but also potentially very bad because he went belly down when I was on his back because his instinct was not to be pinned on his back. So I had the hooks in, and my brother's like, throw the choke in. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it was good. I was getting verbal reinforcement for what I was doing. And he had his chin up because he had, again, he trained in a sport where that was illegal. So his brain was turned off to the fact that somebody could do that. And so I sunk my wrist under his chin. I just started squeezing. I mean, he's my friend. I love him. I didn't want to hurt him, but I just started squeezing. And he taps out because he knew what to do there, so that was good. And I let him go right away. And he gets up and he's like, you could have killed me. And I go, are you okay? Are you hurt? Did I hurt you? I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm sorry. And he goes, no. He goes, I'm not hurt at all. He's like, but you could have killed me if you wanted to. Like, if you were a bad guy, you didn't care about me, I would have been dead right now. And I go, wow. And he goes, I need to learn this stuff. And I'm like, heck yeah. So legend has it that these techniques were developed in ancient Greece when the pancration, the original Olympics, was like there was an MMA match that involved all these techniques that you see now in the octagon, in jiu-jitsu. And legend has it, and of course Greeks are really going to love this legend, that Alexander the Great's pancration trainers went out all the way to the outskirts of India. Their trainers taught some monks in India their exercises, like they're saying this is where maybe yoga and other martial arts came from, and their fighting forms. And then these monks spread it through Asia, eventually to Japan, and the Japanese formalized it into jiu-jitsu. I don't care what anybody says, the original old school jiu-jitsu was really good, really powerful, and basically like maybe 95% there in regard to what we see in modern day Brazilian jiu-jitsu or modern day grappling, right? And then it went from Japan to Brazil to the United States, and then a Greek learned it from me, so it went full circle. Call or text if you want to learn the basics safely where no one gets hurt. Call or text 630-205-2466. I've been doing this for a long time. Managed to keep people safe. I can't protect you from yourselves, but I might be able to help you protect you from yourself by wising you up. 630-205-2466. Call or text. Theo Chino saying, keep it real, stay strong, and ciao for now.